Welcome to Creepypasta. Please like, share and subscribe. This will help us make more content for you. Thank you.
A house just appeared on my street out of nowhere that I've never seen before in my life. Excuse my French, but I am so damn confused. This just happened to me like maybe 5 minutes ago. I knew this probably would fit better here than the Mandela Effect subreddit. Honestly, it made more sense to me to post it here. I was home every day. I notice things very well, because I like to look around and observe nature, etc. Every single day I walk home. Been living on this same street for 10 years. Today I was walking and noticed a white house between two houses. One was brown that was on the right side of this new house, and one was yellow on the left. I honestly stared at the house for a few seconds trying to remember if I have seen it before. There's a rundown house on our street, so I thought maybe they fixed it up. Nope. That house is like 5 to 6 houses down from this one. I noticed they were painting it, so I tried to remember if there was a house there at all. Nope. I was really freaked out. I've never seen the driveway, the cars, the people, any of it. Never seen this house. I could have sworn that this house wasn't here before. It's so unlikely that I didn't notice this before because I walk home every day. I'm so confused. Nothing else is off on my street, but from the like 4 hours I was gone, I highly doubt someone built a whole house in that time and had time to paint it. It's just impossible. I swear the yellow and brown house were right next to each other. I think I'm losing my mind. I am not on any drugs or intoxicated. I've never done drugs or had alcohol in my life. Anyone had anything similar happen? TLDR, a random house appeared on my street and I swear up and down I've never seen it before. Edit 1, it's on Google Maps. The more I look at it, the more I am confused and realize I've never seen it, so I decided to ask my mother. She said it's been there all along and I'm so confused. I swear it hasn't. I highly doubt I missed it since I walk home all the time from the same way. Edit 2, noticed it was the same color they were painting it on Google Maps, so I doubt it was a different color before. I don't know how Google goes about taking pictures for Google Maps, but I doubt that's what happened, I think.
Comments. I used to live in an apartment complex. The complex of buildings was shaped like a U. I was at the bottom of the U. I could see all the other buildings from my apartment. One apartment in another building, the tenant always had the TV on, all night long. I would see it when I was smoking on my balcony. One day, the blinds in the other apartment were closed. My son told me he had seen a flash and heard a bang from that apartment. He was so upset that I contacted my building manager and asked if the resident was okay. She was confused and said yes, the tenant had moved and another family was moving in. After that, I woke up one day and there was a very tall tree blocking my view from that other apartment. Both my son and swear that tree hadn't been there before, but my boyfriend said it was. I know it wasn't, and my son knows it wasn't there, because we used to be able to see exactly what the guy was watching on TV and suddenly the view was blocked. You aren't going crazy.
What's weird is to think that you and your son switched realities together but your boyfriend did not. I wonder how that works. It's strange to think that there are different versions of the same people and that we potentially encounter them when we switch. Has your boyfriend otherwise been the same?
Yes. At the time, my boyfriend and I did not live together, so he wasn't at my apartment all the time. I think he probably remembers the tree being there, but he hardly ever went on the balcony like me and my son, and he really didn't pay attention to that part of the courtyard when he was there.
Did I shift 12 years ago and just notice? I know this maybe isn't the right sub, but for some reason I can't post in any of the dimension shifting ones. But I just put something together and I want to get some feedback, be told whether or not I'm insane. I've always been really interested in the how, what, why of it all, and recently applied that interest to reading and watching docs about different quantum theories. When I stumbled across mentions of astral projection and quantum immortality, I remembered my mom describing experiences to me when I was young, from her own childhood, that sounded just like what I'd read astral projection was like. The next time we talked on the phone, I brought it up and asked her to describe it to me. She can't do it anymore, and can't remember exactly when it stopped. I took notes, but that's another post. For shits and gigs, I decided to describe quantum immortality to her, and asked her if she remembered any time in her life that she should have died but didn't. The example I gave her was the one of an impending head-on collision. You close your eyes and brace for impact, it's unavoidable, but nothing happens, and you open your eyes and the truck is behind you driving in the opposite direction as though it had driven right through you. No one else on the road noticed a thing. This is where it gets strange. My mom is immediately reminded of almost that exact thing that apparently happened to her one winter night in 2009 to 2010. And apparently to me too, which is insane, because I really don't quite remember it. What I do remember is that my parents had just split up. I was 19 or 20 and a sophomore in college. I was living with my mom in townhouse and commuting to school because I had a horrible roommate experience on campus. We were really close at the time, going through a lot together. That night I remember that we went to see Alice in Wonderland in 3D. I remember it was freezing and snowy and it was a late showing, so it was pitch black outside. This was in Update NY. I remember that my mom drove the Prius that she still has to this day. What I don't remember is what she described to me happened on the way home. Or if I do, it's very vague and might just be because I imagine what she told me. She said we were on a main road between towns headed home, crossing over the Erie Canal, on a bridge that slightly curves and intersects almost immediately at the end with another main road on each side. She said there was a car coming from the opposite direction, and the road, especially the bridge, were extremely icy. The other car started to slide and I guess was coming at us. My mom said she couldn't get out of the way to the left or right, because even if it weren't too slippery, we were on a bridge, so there wasn't really anywhere to go. She also couldn't slam on the brakes because then we'd just be sliding too and would just make it worse. She said she did the mom's seatbelt, with one arm and closed her eyes and braces for impact, and she actually doesn't remember much after that other than being home. Doesn't specifically remember being like, wait, what? I was floored when she told me this because I hadn't remembered it at all. I just thought, and then forgot for a few weeks. Yesterday we were talking on the phone again, my mom and I, and it dawned on me that we barely speak anymore. She said something wildly out of character that left me speechless. Not the first time she's done so in recent years. She also mentioned that I had changed, and that we didn't agree on anything anymore, and that I was hard to talk to. I realized that I also didn't recognize this woman in a lot of ways. The mom I remember as a kid, despite her flaws, was pretty liberal-minded and taught me about civil rights, and how we deep down were really all the same. She pondered the stars, and while I was raised Catholic, thanks to grandparents on dad's side, she always taught me to be open-minded to, but also wary of, all religions. She talked about reincarnation and a soul, and yeah, though not on purpose, she used to astral project as a child. She was one of my best friends and a great comfort. I don't know if we've lived too far apart for too long, or she's just getting old, or she's so engrossed in their local news media, I don't watch television news at all, that it's driving her batty, but my mom is now, honestly, kind of ignorant. She says what she thinks and doesn't care who it insults. The odd part is, she's the happiest she's ever been. My stepdad is great, they have a nice house, they're both still working, they have great jobs, they're financially secure, they have hobbies. Also, she randomly out of nowhere, in her 50s, developed a nut allergy, which I know happens, but figured could be relevant. So like, did either my mom, me, or both die 12-ish years ago, and I just noticed?
Comments. So when you think back, did her change in character happen around that accident time?
Honestly, yeah, but up until now, I figured that was the metamorphosis of my parents' marriage of 30 years ending, and her going back to school to become an RN, and losing her mother, my grandma, with whom she had a very complicated relationship, all on top of the traumatic life she had before I was even born. I remember around that time, she lost a ton of weight. She also dated a few guys I had a strong distaste for, who were incredibly out of character for her. I actually just remembered the one guy who was the worst. He was a nice guy, but he was just like what she was trying to avoid, an alcoholic.
I woke up this morning wearing post-surgical dressings that I removed a week ago. I recently had surgery, and post-surgical dressings were put on my abdomen. I was instructed to remove the dressings on day 3 post-op, and I did. This morning, however, 3 days after that, so 6 days post-op, I woke up wearing the dressings I removed and threw away. I am freaking out, to put it mildly. It's not just that I had dressings on me that I didn't have when I went to bed, they looked the same as the ones I was wearing before. I know, because the way the gauze was folded under the waterproof tape formed a distinctive shape. I looked at the photos I was taking to keep track of my healing, the gauze is the same shape. What the hell? I have been taking bikini pics and trying on work clothes, and bathing. I see my abdomen all day. I know that there wasn't any gauze until I woke up today, lifted my shirt and felt my stomach drop. It just looked wrong. Like, why is this on my body, and where did it come from?
Comments. My limited experiences in sleepwalking led to waking up wearing something completely different than what I put on the night before. Is it possible you reapplied them yourself in your sleep?
I've never sleepwalked in my life. I suppose it's technically possible, but I'd be surprised. Also, we have cameras in every room except the bedrooms and bathrooms in my house, and there's nothing on them of me walking around the house during the night. So I couldn't have left my bedroom if I did.
This is freaky. Before this happened, were you having a normal recovery? I wonder if something happened in your sleep and you jumped realities. This is assuming that all the valid, previously mentioned hypotheses aren't actually true.
The only thing out of the ordinary, medically, I've had during recovery, is a lot of swelling, more than expected for the procedure. My doctor was actually shocked by the photos I sent her, and told me it's the worst swelling she's seen. Also, weird dreams since surgery, where I was pushing through all these walls, into different rooms. Like one room would have trees or something, and then I'd push through a wall, and the next room would be full of cake. This I chalked up all the anesthesia leaving my body, and the few pain pills I took though, lol.
Do you have a creepy story? Please share it with us in the comments, and we will post it on the channel. Please subscribe. Thank you.